Well, stage 6 power cuts back in after a couple of weeks of some lower stages. I think, let's be honest, we all knew this was eventually going to happen with the cold weather. Eskom blaming the loss of generating units for the increased blackouts. But a spike in demand, of course, due to the icy weather could very well be the cause. Or could it be? There could be a lot of other things at play as well. The Democratic Alliance has come out and said there are unsustainable and dishonest practices employed to maintain lower blackout stages. We'll get to that in just a second. Let's hear from the Democratic Alliance's Shadow Minister of Electricity, Samantha Graham-Marém, making time for me this evening. Samantha, thank you very much for your time. Two headlines from your Democratic Alliance website. One, Ramaphosa's big lie on load shedding has been exposed. One. Two, are we being kept in the dark by the Minister of Electricity? So is the Minister of Electricity lying to South Africa? Good evening.
Good evening, Gareth. Thank you for having me. Gareth, yeah, at the end of the day, the Minister of Electricity is a lovely man. He's got a wonderful personality. He has great energy. But I'm concerned that he's being disingenuous and he is misleading the public in terms of what is happening with regard to them addressing the load shedding crisis. I think, as I said in my one statement, there's been a confluence of factors that have allowed Eskom to get away with lower stages of load shedding. And this has allowed the ANC to spin the story that they've got the load shedding crisis under control. This is patently not the case, because literally the minute we had our first cold snap, everything went to hell in a handbasket, and we're back to stage 6 load shedding, 10 hours of load shedding a day, and no sign of it dissipating at this stage.
We are beginning to get into elections 2024, the election politicking, the election spin as well. So how seriously do we need to take what the Minister of Electricity is saying at the moment? Are they doing this? Is it a facade to get more votes for next year? And if you were to say yes, Samantha, how do you prove that to us?
Well, I would say yes, Gareth. At the end of the day, the Minister of Electricity has been appointed to end load shedding in the lead up to the elections. He's done that fairly successfully up till now. But as I said, there have been a number of factors over the last couple of days that have laid bare the fact that all is not well at Eskom. For example, we were told that the cold would not affect load shedding. First cold snap, and we're back to stage 6. We were told that we've been told for the last few weeks that the energy availability factor was initially at 60% and then again at 70%. It hasn't gone beyond 59% this year, and in fact, on average, it has been at 53%. So we are clearly being lied to with respect to the energy availability factor. In addition, the government is using open cycle gas turbines as a mitigation against the load shedding, particularly during peak periods. So for the last month or so, since about the 11th of June, they've been down to 10 of these open cycle gas turbines. They're now back up to 22 since Monday. That means that we're now burning 3 billion rands worth of diesel a month to keep the load shedding lower than it should be. And this is also not sustainable because these gas turbines are supposed to be functioning at about 10% of their capacity, and we're sort of sitting at about 60% at this stage. So they are using, as I keep saying, a Band-Aid on a shark bite to try and hide the fact that they actually are not managing to get the energy crisis under control. They are talking about a 210 billion rand cost for us to improve our grid. And until that happens, the influx of IPPs and independent power producers and other energy resources are not going to be effective because we don't have a grid that can hold the new influx of energy. So this is very much, they're trying short-term solutions. They've got no long-term plan, and this country is in trouble.
I got a tweet coming through to @eNCA, Samantha. Forgive me, I'm sure you wouldn't mind asking or answering this, from Mike Kimpen @KimpenMike, asking me to ask you, Samantha, do you think that the government and the ANC and the electricity minister can actually implement lower stages of load shedding at will? They're using this as a political ploy.
I think, yes, look, I think that the use of the turbines is certainly one of the mechanisms that they can use to reduce the impact of load shedding. The minister has spoken about employing new tactics with respect to purchasing and procurement. I'm not sure that we're seeing the benefit of that at this stage, but I do believe that there is no short-term fix for the load shedding at this stage. I do honestly believe that they are shuffling the deck chairs while the Titanic is sinking, and unless they come up with a more structured medium to long-term plan, it doesn't matter what they do now. We're in for a rough ride going forward.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that what they're doing now is sustainable until the elections.
There's a very good chance come next year there could be a coalition government. Samantha, you're the Shadow Minister of Electricity. Let's imagine you were to get this profile, you were to get this portfolio. How would you fix this? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? What would you do?
I don't think it is going to be a quick fix, but I do believe that there are mechanisms that can be employed, and particularly with respect to the Just Energy Transition program that is being mooted by the International Partners Group. There's $8.5 billion available right now for us to use if we start employing new mitigation factors, if we start looking at alternative forms of energy, if we start implementing the Just Energy Transition protocols that are required. There is funding available. These governments want us to succeed. Africa's continent requires us to succeed. So certainly one of the first things that we would look at is how we would work together with the IPG to make sure that we accessed and unlocked that funding that we need in order to improve the grid so that we can improve the electricity transmission. But it is not a short-term fix. We require a medium to long-term plan in order to get the energy crisis resolved.
As I start saying goodbye to you, if not Kgosientsho Ramokgopa, who would be the right person to try and get this right?
At this stage, I think he's probably the best person they've got. He was head of Infrastructure SA, and he did a wonderful job in terms of leveraging funding for strategic infrastructure projects. I think if we're looking at the ANC and the available people, I do believe that he is still the best person. But I do believe that he needs to start taking this country into his confidence, stop trying to pull the wool over our eyes, tell us what's going on, and let's find solutions as a country to resolve the energy crisis instead of the ANC and the government trying to pretend that they've got it under control.
Let me ask you this very, very briefly, Samantha. You just sparked a question that I was thinking of. Do you think he is he's getting bad advice, or he's relaying the advice badly? Is it the people advising him, or he doesn't understand what he's actually being advised on?
Dr. Ramokgopa is a highly intelligent man. He's got an engineering background. So I do believe that he has an unbelievable understanding of the situation. But I think he is being politically advised not to reveal the extent of it in order to avoid panicking the public, in order to make the ANC look as though they've got the situation under control. I do believe that if he was given the powers that he needs, which he hasn't been given, despite the hoo-ha around him having been given powers. I do believe that if he was given more powers, and that Gwede Mantashe wasn't hanging on to the powers he has, I have a feeling that he would be able to be far more successful than he's going to be.
Yeah, I think you and I are going to have a discussion again about the politics of power in our country. And I mean electricity, not just the power of politics. Samantha, thank you very much indeed for your time. You agree, disagree? Tweet us at eNCA, also Facebook, eNCA News on Facebook. The DA's Shadow Minister of Electricity, Samantha Graham-Marém, joining us this evening, because here we are, stage 6 blackouts. It wasn't gone very long, was it? You're not surprised. I'm not surprised. We all saw it coming with this cold snap in South Africa. My thanks to Samantha for making time this evening.